Hey everybody, I'm late. Okay, I'm not usually late. 6 minutes late. Usually I'm always very proud. I pride myself on being punctual. But I am late today, and usually I'm early, if anything. But I had to really hurry from what I was doing to make it here. And I'm here for another one of these catch up with Mayo things where it's a Q&A, it's hello, it's just checking in with people, saying hi to my viewers, things like that. Try to do this every Saturday by myself. Just getting together. I like to touch base, as you know, with everybody, and that is what I'm here to do right now. Just me. And Saturdays usually it's around 4 p.m. Eastern. Today I'm here at 5:06. So, excuse me, folks. So I'm surprised but happy that Patrick is here. Because I know it's late where Patrick is. I think it's midnight, something like that. The John Lennon Mind Games EP world premiere live stream. I didn't see anyone else showing the new Lennon before. Congratulations, thanks Sean Lennon. Yes, indeed, Patrick. Hello, James. Hello to another James. Sean sent you a birthday present. Good for you. And then to that, Lila says, "Is your birthday today?" And I say, "No, my birthday is not today. It's coming up soon, but it's not today." Uh, Hello, Elvin. But I mean, it's a good timing as long as it's around my birthday. It's good to get that. Okay, gotcha, Patrick. So happy birthday happy birthday for when it is actually my birthday. How does Mind Game sound? I haven't played it yet. I just got it. Just got it. I made the video, and then I had to run out, so I haven't played it yet. Hello, Mike. And I think we're caught up right at the moment. So for now, we're okay. Hi, Brett. Have you heard Sean and James McCartney's new single? I have not, but I heard about it, but I haven't heard it. Uh, okay, that's very good. Very good to know this. I don't know. I'm just wondering. I figured, well, Andrew obviously gets these things as well. I'm just wondering why if he hasn't made a video, why that is. Maybe it's because he figures he has to wait till record store day. And as I said in my video, I didn't know if I should wait to record store day or not. I didn't know if I had to, if I was required to. I don't know because uh, usually with record store day, you're not supposed to sell them if you're a store owner. Store owners are not supposed to sell them before record store day. But when it's the actual person who's releasing the disc, if they give you a promotional early copy, I think that's a different thing. I think. So there you go. Um, Hello to Cherry Carter. I'm just wondering where a glow in the dark record would come in handy. Well, no, nothing. I mean, I don't find that unusual. You listen to records in the dark. I mean, turn out the lights, listen to the records in the dark, and it glows. I used to listen when I was younger, and I used to listen to records all the time. I used to listen at night. You know, it's not that unusual. Hello, George. Music for all four seasons. And yes, we have a new Ringo song that was dropped as well. This is true. This is very true. Okay, so caught up just for the moment. Hold on, folks. Today I also got together with my friend Anthony and we made a little video. And I think the video is pretty good because in the video we went to the guy who curses a lot. And number one, he did curse a lot for a change because lately he hasn't been cursing. He did curse the store owner, and in addition to providing that laugh for us, he had some stuff that we were interested in buying. So we did buy, Anthony and I each bought something from the guy. So that was good. Um, Always makes me laugh. Ringo, to my ears anyway, always seems to make the same record. Well, there's some of his stuff sounds the same, but a lot of people, not myself, but a lot of people, most people, 98.5% of the people are saying they love the new Ringo song, and they're saying it sounds like better than usual, different from usual. Uh, for me personally, it's okay. It's pretty good. I've only heard it twice, and I think it's pretty good, but I'm not blown away by it. Everybody else seems to think it's good rocking Ringo. They think it rocks. They think it's sounds different than usual. So, hello, Robbie. What's going on, Robbie? Detroit's vinyl. Hello, Henry Lemoyne. And Cherry even says, "Yeah, the new Ringo is heavier, more rocky." There you go. I don't hear it, but a lot of people do. Sounds the same, probably because the same players are on his songs over and over again. Yeah, he has a lot of the same entourage, that's for sure. I don't know all the details of who's on the new single, February Sky. I don't know all the details of that. So I'll just say again, for those of you who don't know, this is going to be the channel again where whenever I do the group get-togethers that I call the Mayo Lounge, whenever I'm together with somebody else, not just myself, but when I have other people, Danny Ambrosi or other people or a bunch of us, those videos used to be on the movie channel. Now they're going to be here. I mean, Mr. Mayo, starting I guess Monday. Okay, just so you know that. I've been on a Rolling Stones kick recently. That's fine. I mean, I like the Rolling Stones. I've been on a kick not too long ago. Even the message isn't about love and saving the world. Exactly. Um, if you see a Mind Games when you got to record store day, will you still grab one? No. Thank you so much to the Lennon estate. I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to worry about it. But I'm looking for the Ringo Crooked Boy EP. Okay. Jonathan, I can't really pronounce that. But anyway, good evening. Big fan of your channel and wisdom. Wisdom. Have you heard about the story that McCartney finished the lyrics of Yesterday in Portugal during the holidays? No. The Stones have a talent of really making every single song an earworm. I don't know. I mean, yeah, to a degree. I think Paul McCartney is really the one that has makes earworms. Who do you know? Do you mean because I got the John Lennon EP? Well, it's not that I know anybody. They know me for making a channel that's fairly successful. I'm not the biggest channel by any stretch of the imagination. There's lots of bigger channels than me, and there's lots of tiny channels. But anyway, be that as it may, yeah. So they just like my channel and like what I was doing, so they send me stuff, and I appreciate that. Uh, do you get a covering letter from the Lennon estate in the package? Is it signed? I did not get a letter. There's been other times where I got one, but I didn't get one this time. Okay, Patrick, I don't have a banner prepared now. They're opening the James Brown Mansion up like a Graceland attraction next year. Claire says hello, hello to you, Claire. Had roundworm once. Cream fix that. Yes, I do remember my first CD purchase. It was Joan Jett, the Blackhearts. Good music. The CD. That was my very first, and I still have it, and it still plays fine. And that was my first CD that knocked me out and said CDs are great. That was back in 1986. Today is not my birthday. It's not, but thank you for saying happy birthday. It's coming up, but it's not today. All right, folks. Thank you all for being here. We got a good amount of people here, and I appreciate you all for being here and checking it out. Um, yeah. What can I say, Jose? Just say what comes to mind. Uh, Henry's always got to say something about Queen. My dad told me that the first album he ever bought was News of the World by Queen.
You're kidding!
Boy. I love those clips when I can use them. I usually use them, when I do the Mayo Lounge with other people on here, usually, but hit the likes, please. It's free. Thank you very much. When did you just buy? When did just buying stuff end and collecting began? I've been a collector since as far back as I can remember as a little kid. I mean, I just like collecting stuff. Can't wait for the Mind Games box set. Yep, absolutely, Claire. I'm looking forward to it as well. I love when someone starts telling the panel what they have been up to, and then you use the busy day clip. Yeah, some people know what that is. Some people won't know what it is. If you want to know what it is, watch the Mayo Lounge when I do it. And you'll see. My first album was Aqualung. My big brother got it for me from a boy at his trade school. Hey, Aqualung. I know Jethro Tull. I know. Ah, okay. Spring Hill Jim, what's up? What's the good word? The good word is Lennon. I guess Lennon is the good word today. I don't know. Okay. Jethro Tull are an acquired taste. I like some of Jethro Tull's stuff. Well, Jethro Tull. Yep, that's exactly it. Have you heard the word? My first album was my grandfather's original copy of Sergeant Pepper. So, with all these changes, Joe, tell me you're not moving all your movie reviews over here. I will tell you that I'm not. I'm not moving all my movie reviews over here. No, I'm not. At this point, anyway, everything's staying separate. Movie reviews are staying there. I'm the first one to tell you that although in some matters I'm very decisive and I make a decision and stick with it, well, there's a relief. Phew, phew. Um, um, there are other times I'm indecisive. I think one thing, I go back, I waffle, back and forth. It happens. That's my thing. Okay. Have you heard any song of the Mona Lisa twins who are big Beatles fans who did covers and original songs based on their artistry and other legendary bands? No, have not. You learn something new every day. Yes, I do remember the CD single, only 3 inches in size. I have some of them. Some of them are viewable right there at the edge. There's a Love Me Do one you might see sticking here with a white box right there. I think that's one of them. Can I get Roddy McDowell in the ape mask? I'm only going to use it if, I have to have a reason to use it, the clip, you know. Oh, I love the Mona Lisas. Have you ever listened to Black Sabbath? Yes, I have. I like some Black Sabbath. I do. I like Paranoid. I like Iron Man the best. And the first Sabbath album I listened to, and I actually like that too. Um, what song on the new Mind Games mix are you looking forward to hearing? Wow. I like. Let me get it here. Here it is, folks. Again. So out of this here, I don't know. I like them all. Really. I think I've heard these before. I'd like to hear I Sen. I can never say I Sen. I don't know exactly how to pronounce it, but that's one. That's like a song that I really love. I'd like to hear that. Okay. Okay. Ooh, hold on. I lost where I was. Okay, you said your girlfriend is a professional singer. Does she sing you Beatles songs sometimes? Not in a long time, but she has. Absolutely. And I remember at my 50th birthday party, which was X amount of years ago, she I made an arrangement. She sang some songs. It was wonderful. We had a party, and it was great. Um, there is an Amy Winehouse revival here in the UK. Was USA a fan of hers? I only heard of her when she died. And I will say, I didn't know who she was until she died. And then I heard that she had that song Rehab. They tell me to go to rehab. I say no, 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 no. You should have said yes, 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 and saved your life. But that's how I felt about it. And since I've heard Amy Winehouse, since then, I think she was very good. I think it was a waste. I think she was good. To tell you the truth. Mona Lisa's do a great cover of Bus Stop by the Hollies, and etc. etc. I do like Motorhead, although I'm not huge into heavy metal. Yeah, yes, that's what happened. Yes, I got the Mind Games EP early through the Lennon estate, I guess Sean and company. Um, were you a fan of the Ruddles? I was not a fan of the Ruddles when the show first came on. When the show first aired on television in the US, I was 16 and I was pissed off that they were parodying the Beatles. I had no sense of humor then. Now I think it's great. I'm a big fan of the Ruddles now, and I like the Ruddles, not just the movie, the Ruddles, but I like the music. And I think Neil Innes was a genius, and I think those songs sound very much like Beatles songs, and I like the music. I just love it. There's a new never before seen clip of John playing "Make Love Not War." It's real quick, about 24 seconds long. You sure it's a clip? You're talking about a video clip or just an audio clip? Because I don't think I don't think I've seen him ever. I've heard an audio clip of it. I've never saw him visually doing it. That's interesting. Can we see the back of the new Lennon? There's not much to see on it. This is the back of the new Lennon EP. Now this is the front, and it's the back. It's not that different, really. Okay, there you go. Uh, uh, I like Only People. So do I. The song Only People gets slammed a lot as one of the weakest songs, but I like it. I think the lyrics are cliched. The lyrics are cliched, but I like it. I like this overall sound of it. Have you ever gone to record store day and took a chance on something you didn't really know, or bought something you'd never really heard of? Yeah, oh yeah, I did that many times, many times. I bought many, many, many things that I never heard of and just did it. Yes, I agree. The Ruddles is a genius comedy parody. I agree. Amy did go to rehab, but let herself out early. Part of her problem was a scumbag boyfriend who was enjoying her money, but a bad influence on her. Dragged her down. Okay, it's a video clip to John Lennon "Make Love Not War." That's great to know about. I got to check it out. Thank you, Marcus. I didn't know about that. Is Mind Games John's worst LP cover? Um, I'm trying to think of all his LP covers in my mind now. Maybe. I, I don't know. I never thought of that. Like, which John Lennon album cover is my least favorite? I'm not wild about Milk and Honey just because, and Milk and Honey's right here. And the only reason I say that is it's just another shot. It's like another session shot from Double Fantasy all over again. It's repetitious. You know, I don't exactly like Live Piece in Toronto, if you count that. Just a blue cover, blue sky cover. That's it. Lennon had the instant karma short hair. Oh, cool. In that clip, Lennon had the clip that Marcus is talking about, "Make Love Not War." John has the instant karma short hair. Have you heard the Offspring song, "Why Don't You Get a Job"? If you listen to the melody, it's a complete plagiarism of "Obla Obla Da," just with different words. Never heard it, but I believe you. Shaved Fish is the worst cover. I didn't think of that because it was the greatest hits. I actually like the cover of Shaved Fish. I have no problem with that one. Um, yes, I've seen Stevie Ricks. I've seen a lot of those sketches about the Beatles from Steve Ricks. Yes, I have. Hello, Glenn. What's the good word? There's also a hilarious comic spoof of George Martin kidnapped by terrorists. Every time George speaks, he spouts those well-worn myths. George says your tie, etc. Hilarious. Don't like your tie. Did John play on Ringo's version of I'm the Greatest"? I believe he did. Well, he sings. John sings along with Ringo on it in the background, and I think he did play with him too. And of course he wrote the song. So there you go. My favorite John album cover is "Plastic Ono Band" with John and Yoko by the tree. It's a nice, comfortable looking picture. Any cool stories from Miss Linda McCartney? No. I mean, I met Linda, but I didn't talk to her that much. you know. Um, my favorite Lennon album sleeves are "Live in New York" and "Plastic Ono Band." I've never liked the Mind Games album cover, considering how Milk and Honey was scheduled to act as part two. It's Double Fantasy. I can appreciate that cover for those reasons. Yeah. There you go. You have it. Thanks, folks, for your opinions. Much appreciated. Alrighty, folks. I'm trying to understand this. I take it because of contractual reasons. An album couldn't come out mixing Beatles and solo works on the same product. I would guess so. I would guess that's the case. Yeah, like I guess. I like the look of the Crooked Boy EP. Looks like it could have been taken during the making of Help in the Bahamas. I'm pretty sure it was earlier than that. I think it was probably, I'm just guessing, it was Miami Beach in '64 when the Beatles were in Miami or Florida in '64. Mm-hmm. Yep. Just like to see where I'm at here. I'm looking at. I mean, I'm so addicted to checking my phone for comments and you know updates of where we're at here. Just curious. Hold on, folks. Be right with you. Don't want to fall too far behind. Okay. I can't remember now, but someone on YouTube said they thought Pipes of Peace was McCartney's worst tune. It's an incredible tune. No way is Pipes of Peace, in my opinion, the worst McCartney tune. There's a lot. It's not at all. Um, but I do think the album is one of his least albums on a whole. I do like the Walls and Bridges cover. The reason I like it is because it's a flip cover. You could flip it and, flip the panels and have different looks of John's face on it. The actual cover of the painting that he did when he was 12, 11 or 11, I think 11, age 11. That's not really a great painting or anything. It's nice, but it's the flapping with the John Lennon alternate faces I like. Patrick says I can't find that new video that Marcus was referring to. I can sort of see why you like to have guests on your show and not do solos. Things move differently for you. Well, actually, I like doing solos and I like having guests. I think you're getting it mixed up when I say when I'm doing a show with guests, when I intend to have guests, I don't like wasting a lot of that solo. Right now, when I do a solo show like this, I like it. But when I expect to have guests up and they don't come up right away and I gotta wait and wait and wait and I gotta stall by myself, that I don't like. If that makes any sense. Uh, okay. Do you believe Revolution 9 is the worst Beatles song? Well, I always say if I'm going to pick the worst Beatles song, I'll pick Revolution 9. Although I don't think that's fair because it's not really a song, it's a collection of tape effects and things like that. It's an experimental track. It's not a real song. And I always say, uh, so it's hard to pick. You might say Wild Honey Pie. You might say Maggie May or Dig It because they're so short. You might say, why don't we do it in the road? It's really hard to figure that out. Which one exactly is out of all the regular normal length songs that are songs, which is my least favorite. You know. Uh, I like Wild Honey Pie. The reason I like Wild Honey Pie is because I don't really consider it a song per se. I consider it a segue between one song and another, just like a funny like joke between it. So it doesn't bother me. I'll never forget seeing Paul sound checking the Sea Moon. He loves doing Sea Moon. That's one of his favorite songs to do, especially sound checks. At Liverpool's Albert Dock gig, it's an awesome live version, such a great live tune. Revolution 9 isn't catchy or anything like that, but it's iconic. And I am glad that it's on the White Album. As I say, the White Album is so different. It's so versatile and so much different stuff on there that I like the fact that it's on there. And when I listen to the White Album through its entirety, I never skip Revolution 9. But I would not just go and pick out the White Album and play Revolution 9 on its own just to listen to it by itself. You know what I mean? Tell us about Monday's Talk More Talk. Okay, thanks for asking, James. Yeah, we're doing part two of the Rolling Stone Top 100 Solo Beatles Songs list. Last time, on the last show on Talk More Talk, we did what? Number 100 to number 51. Now, on the next show, which is Monday night at 9 p.m. Eastern live, check it out. Offer your opinions and thoughts. We are going to be doing the top 50. So there you go. When you say Beetle boots, I think you mean shoes. I don't own any kind of Beetle boots, but there was a period when I was like 21 and I went to the clubs that I had a kind of Beetle boot thing that I wore back then. If you're talking about Beetle bootlegs, as in boots, bootlegs, boots, I have a lot of Beetle bootlegs. You know, in my opinion, those filler tracks on the White Album is part of its charm. It makes the White Album weird and quirky and cool. And I agree with you on that, Henry. I agree. Um, which would you choose? Not a Second Time or All I've Got to Do? I love both of those songs. I love songs like that. I love that album with the Beatles. And it's one of my favorite Beatle albums. I don't care. A lot of people don't like With the Beatles. I love it. Um, and I love like songs that are not played to death. Songs like All I've Got to Do and Not a Second Time. But if you're asking me to pick one, I'll pick Not a Second Time. But I love both of them a lot. If Jaws was made today, would the CGI shark be that good? Or would it still wouldn't be as good as the '70s rubber version? Nope. The CGI shark would not be as good, I don't think. And the strength of Jaws, the original, the real, there's only one Jaws so far, thank God. But the strength of Jaws is in the acting, the characters, the suspense, the music. You know, the shark is secondary. You know. Would you buy an extended Beats mix of Revolution 9 Glow in the Dark? I guess. Rubber Soul is my favorite Beatles album. Um, Beatles have a great version of Please Mr. Postman. I agree. I agree. Congratulations on getting the Record Store Day Mind Games EPs. Any interest in the Harrison picture discs for collecting purposes? No, no interest. Definitely cutting back, big time, scaling back on collecting every little thing. Pardon the joke. Really scaling back big time on every little thing Beatles. Yeah, definitely. But new releases like the Lennon and Ringo albums, absolutely, I want them. And of course, I do love "Don't Bother Me." I agree. Fantastic, underrated George track from With the Beatles, and in particular, underrated by George himself. Okay. Rick says, I just heard an interview in which John said that for the Beatles to have made it, they had to be the world's biggest bastards. What do you make of that? Lennon being just provocative? Lennon liked to be provocative, but I think he was trying to be honest and saying, we're not these happy-go-lucky, perfect golden boy mop tops all the time. We could be bastards. We weren't, and I love that. I love it that he did that. Yeah, yeah, the Shark and Jaws 3 and 4 are kind of jokey. I agree. If the Beach Boys album Smile were to be released originally in '67 at the beginning, do you think Sgt. Pepper would have been released at someone be as acclaimed as it was and is? I mean, I've heard Smile and I hate it, by the way, by the Beach Boys. But I don't know. I think Sergeant Pepper would still be acclaimed, but it might not be as groundbreaking coming after. It would still be acclaimed as a great album, but maybe not as groundbreaking and innovative after Smile. Penny Lane, what's going on? You're in my ears and in my eyes. So every little thing, or what you're doing, or I don't want to spoil the party. Of those three songs, I'll take I don't want to spoil the party as my favorite of those three. I mean, I like them all to a point. Uh, yeah, somebody else maybe can tell you in the comments, Jim, but there are a couple of, I think it's George's Wonderwall albums on a picture disc, and also George's Electronic Sounds, I think. And they're a special kind of picture disc. I don't know what it is. When they play, something happens to with the picture. And maybe I don't know the exact details. It's not just a standard picture disc; it's a special kind of picture disc. But I'm done just buying everything, and I haven't. I've skipped a lot of things lately. Um, any item that you have that is still sealed and you don't have an open copy to play. Yes, I can't think of them offhand, but I do. I was almost not going to open the black vinyl of the Mind Games EP that I was gifted because I wanted to save that one. But I figured for the sake of the video, I'll open it and show it to everybody. So that's what I did with that. Hello, Harold. Picture discs are brilliant. My No More Lonely Nights 12 inch is my favorite. I like picture discs too. I do. They get they get a bad rap a lot of days these days, but I like them. Um, John got in fights as a young boy. He beat up people who called him names. Funny how Beatles and Stones are reversed in real life. Yeah, well, the thing is, the only one that John beat up was Bob Wooler, the DJ at the Cavern, for saying, because, and Brian Epstein had gone away to Spain, and the guy Bob Wooler made some wisecracks about that because Brian was, was known gay and all that, and John didn't appreciate that, and he was drunk. He was drunk, and it was Paul's 21st birthday. He was a kid, all this stuff, you know. If I played guitar, would I play Fender, Gibson, etc.? I'm not familiar with guitars enough to make that, honestly. I don't know enough about them. Have you seen the video Bob Dylan and Lennon in the car? Yes, absolutely. It's actually an outtake that they didn't use in its entirety from a Bob Dylan documentary called Eat the Document, and Dylan didn't want it included, and for obvious reasons. And the final version, the finished version of Eat the Document, does have a small part of it, but not the whole thing. It's a fascinating video, and I still think I like Bob Dylan too. I'm a Bob Dylan fan, but I actually think that in that video, Lennon looks so professional and so together and so with it, and Dylan looks like a slobbering, blithering, drug-infested idiot in it. That's my take of it. Picture discs are nice to put in a frame and hang on the wall. You can see that. I also love coming across new stories of fan encounters with Lennon, and I came across a new one. It was 1980, and he was so nice to a paperboy, and upon request for a hug, John said, "Of course you can." Yeah, that's the thing. There's lots of great stories about John. Lots of really good, human stories and friendly stories and loving stories. But we happen to be in a time right now where people don't want to know about that on the internet. They want to stick with the bad things. And they don't, they're pushing that narrative. And that's just the way it is right now. Times may change one day, but right now, that's what's going on. Only Ringo, I think, was working class. The other three came from nice houses, in nice parts of Liverpool. There's a lot of debates about that. Patrick says 61 likes, 60, excuse me, 61 people and only 17 likes. Please hit the like button. Please do as the man says. It helps. And John Lennon was a stand up guy to his fans. He was really cool with a lot of the fans. However, I'm not going to let him off the hook. He had, like any human being, he had bad times too. I know people who had negative encounters with John, just like anybody else. But there's a lot of people that I had wonderful encounters with John. John was pretty cool overall. Overall, and there's tons of pictures that crop up on certain Facebook websites, pages dedicated to John, and I keep on copying them for my collection. Where there were so many great autograph pictures, people from all walks of life getting his autograph, and him meeting them and posing with them and stuff. So he was really cool like that. Okay. In a different universe, John and Mick would have been great in a band together. Did John ever do hard drugs? Sure, he did. Heroin, cocaine, uh, acid. He tried everything. You know. Thoughts on McCartney's "All the Best" release? It's not one of my favorite releases. There's a different version, of course, different song listings for the UK and different song listings for the US. I don't really like live albums. I do not like live albums. But I do like Fleetwood Mac The Dance. Fleetwood Mac The Dance is one of my favorite live albums. I'm going to mention that one. Uh, oh, you said Dylan. Was Dylan ever on other hard drugs? Sorry about that. I'm sorry. I didn't know you meant Dylan. Sorry, I misread. I apologize. Okay. John was a star from a very early age. Even before being in a band, he was the center of attention. Yeah, Ringo came from the Dingle, which was the roughest area in Liverpool. He's barely at school because he was so sick as a kid and was in and out of the hospital. I'm glad that Ringo, considering how sickly he was as a child, actually is doing so well, and he's going to be 84 this July. It's amazing. Who do you think was the most challenging from a creative perspective rival for the Beatles, Rolling Stone or the Beach Boys? I like the Beach Boys. I never thought much of them though, as far as being a rival. The Rolling Stones were probably, if anything, a little more of a challenge, but not really. When the Beatles were in their heyday, nobody could touch them. That's how I really feel. Nobody could touch them when they were in their time and in their recording heyday and all that. They were the bosses. They led the path. They led the way. Everybody else followed. That's pretty, including the Stones. You know. I guess when I look at it like that, it's the Beach Boys because the Beach Boys at least did Pet Sounds and some and Smile and all that. The Rolling Stones follow or more followers. I'm going to change that opinion to the Beach Boys because the Rolling Stones seem to follow more trends, whereas the Beach Boys might have created. So I'll change that to the Beach Boys. Uh, what's your favorite dystopian movie? Oh, Soylent Green, the Omega Man. Probably the Omega Man. Is my favorite. The Andromeda Strain. Yep, absolutely, absolutely. I used to have a Strawberry Alarm Clock record that was album that was called Incense and Peppermints, that big hit. But I don't know if I still have that. I don't think I have it anymore. But I did have it once upon a time. Do you think Julian has come to accept his Beatles connection since his last album was called Jude? Yeah, I think he's gotten a lot better at that. A lot better at it. You know, Clockwork Orange is Henry's favorite dystopian movie. Has Taylor Swift died down a little now? She never seems to get mentioned much these days. I don't really know. She still seems as big as ever to me. I don't really know. I mean, I don't care, but from what I can decipher, she still seems pretty damn popular as ever. Do you believe Presley could have ruled the 60s equally over the Beatles if it was better managed? No, I don't. Um, I'm also an Elvis fan. I love Elvis. I love Elvis in the 50s. I love Elvis in the 60s. I love Elvis in the 70s. I like all the decades. However, once the Beatles took over, that was it. I really believe that. I mean, Elvis could have been a little more competition if he had done better stuff in the 60s rather than those movie soundtracks. But I just feel like, as much as I love Elvis's voice and Elvis Presley's style, Elvis was too old fashioned and kind of like almost like a crooner, like a Bing Crosby or Robert Goulet or Tom Jones, compared to Beatles more pop rock. You know, so there's my feeling on that, for what it's worth. It's weird because although Julian's album is called Jude, he said in an interview that he can't stand the song Hey Jude. I saw that interview. I think it was with Bill Maher, I think. He said that it's triggering to a time and place he doesn't want to remember. That's true. That's true. He did say that. Like I said, I don't understand that about. I said this before and I'll say it again. I don't know Julian personally, but from what I can see, he seems like such a cool guy, such a guy I'd like to talk to, have a drink with. Such a nice guy. It's impossible not to like the guy. But I think he's got some hang-ups about his dad and hang up about the Beatles and all that kind of stuff. And I think he's gotten over a lot of it. I mean, he just had a birthday, right? And he just turned 61, and hopefully he's grown up about that. So I like Julian from what I can tell, and I think I would like him to meet him. But really good, really this nice guy. But he just has some things that bother him still, I think. But he's gotten a lot better with them. Uh, you see, now this is what gets me. Henry doesn't know anything about Elvis Presley. Henry does. He's told me once he's only listened to three Elvis songs in his life, or something like that. I don't know if you've listened to four or five or six since you last said that, but you said Presley didn't write songs, and he just swayed his hips to dance. He had an amazing voice, but he wasn't that talented outside of his voice. He was a lousy actor too. Elvis could be a good actor when he wanted to. I don't say Elvis was the greatest actor who ever lived, but when he really believed in what he was doing and really wanted to try hard, he could be a decent actor. Decent actor, not lousy. He did have an amazing voice. I agree with that. When you say he wasn't that talented, I disagree. I mean, you have to describe what talented means. You know, you say Elvis wasn't that talented. Describe what you mean by that. The guy was a great singer and a great performer, had amazing charisma and appeal. That's enough talent. You don't have to have it all. You don't have to write music, sing music, play music with all. You know. I believe that story. I always believe that story. You know why? Because I always felt that. Before I ever heard McCartney tell that story about the second time when he sings in the song, "The movement you need is on your shoulder." I remember used to think that's my favorite line of the song too. You know, and when he told me that John liked it, that's the best line in there. Don't change that. I believe it because I felt it too. So the Beatles had a massive edge over Elvis. They wrote and composed their own music, played instruments, had a sense of humor. Well, I found out that Elvis had a sense of humor too. Elvis had a sense of humor too, actually. I didn't never thought he did when I was younger, but I got a Connie Francis and Hank Williams Jr. CD. Very good. Elvis is the king. In my opinion, I'd put both Buddy Holly and Chuck Berry over Elvis. Well, I like Buddy Holly a lot, and I like Chuck Berry a lot, and I like Elvis a lot. So I don't know what I would do. It depends. If you're into like the songwriting and stuff, and the guitar playing and everything, yeah. Harold says Elvis is the greatest. Well, the Beatles are the greatest. Elvis is the second greatest. The what I always say is the Beatles are the greatest group. Elvis is the greatest single entertainer. So to me, I give them both their due. Me too. I trust Mark Lewison way more over Paul McCartney on Beatles history because like I said many times, the Beatles themselves, uh, they're the only ones who can tell you what it felt like to be there. They were the only ones who were the Beatles. So the four Beatles are the only ones who are able to really tell you what it was like. But as far as historical memory, accurate memories, dates, events, they get a lot of things wrong, the Beatles, and it's historians that know, that have studied. Elvis was a reasonable guitar player. That boy that analysis videos, Wings of Pegasus, looked at Elvis's playing on the comeback. I was surprised. Very good. Fair enough there. Buddy Holly died way too soon. Yes, he did. So did John Lennon. So did Elvis Presley. They all died way too soon. Do you like Frank Sinatra's song "That's Life"? Yes, I do. I do like that song. That's life. That's what all the people say. Yeah, I love it. Do you think when an artist passes, the record companies rub their hands with glee? Sadly, I think some of them do. I think some of them see a cash cow. Sure, sure. It's a business after all, too. They got to be in business. Who do you think represents the 50s more, Presley or Sinatra? Presley way more than Sinatra, I guess. Any thoughts on OJ's passing? I believe that OJ was a double murderer. I believe he killed those two people. I think it's a disgrace. um, that he got away with it, and I hope he's rotting right now where he belongs. That's how I feel about OJ. And it's a shame because before he murdered those people, I really liked him. And everybody liked OJ. He seemed like a good-natured, fun guy and a cool guy. And he was in, the way he was in the football days and the way he was in the commercials. He did commercials and humorous commercials, and he was in the Naked Gun movie and all that. And then he wound up turning around and murdering his wife and Ron Goldman, and it's absolutely pathetic. Let's see. Yeah, I always say this. When Elvis sings the song My Way, I roll my eyes. Did he really do it his way? I don't think so. I agree with you. The song My Way, I'd like that to be one of my songs because I've always done things my way in my life. And right now, I'll just put it this way. I've decided after a lot of thinking, I'm going to continue to do things my way. Okay? The way I think is right. And, but anyway, and I don't think Elvis did things his way. I think he did it the Colonel's way. Okay? He listened to the Colonel, he listened to everything else. So there you go. And I think I like Elvis's voice. I like it. I like to hear the sound of Elvis singing "My Way," but I think Frank Sinatra uh, did it his way more. I believe Frank when he sings it. Yeah, I agree. Mark Lewis needs to get Book Two done. We've been waiting far too long now. Of course, it's been 11 years, I think, maybe since the first part. Any movie cinema quad poster you've seen outside the theater and simply had to have or did get? I've gotten movie posters, but never. Yeah, I've gotten a lot of movie posters I collected in the closets and stuff. But yes. Um, exactly. Let's remember. Could you believe the press secretary the other day remembered him and remembered his family, honored his family in the passing of OJ. It said nothing about the two victims. Can you believe that? I can believe that, sadly. Funny how John was with Yoko the way Stewart was with Astrid. Good point. The movement you need is on your shoulders, I think, is the movement of me dusting off my shoulders. See, when he says the movement you need is on your shoulder, I think it to mean it's your own head. It's your brain, it's your head. Use your head. The movement you need, like, it's your mind, it's your head, it's your sensibilities, it's the head. You know, that's what I think of it. That's why I love the line. Uh, Mark Lewison has said a lot of things, but he's never committed to anything. Um, the thing I understand is he keeps finding new history and new proof and new things to add. And every time he said every time he thinks he's ready, he finds more stuff out. That's what I heard him say. You know, why do you think that toy Frankenstein has eyebrows? Because somebody painted two black things over his eyes. That's why I think that. Um, Ever notice that the beat in Ticket to Ride is very similar to that in Tomorrow Never Knows? I never really thought much about it, but you got a point there. That's for sure. When I was a kid, I thought Hey Jude was about a girl. Thought he was singing about a girl. Only a few years ago, when I really got into the Beatles, I found he was singing about a boy. Well, look, there's a lot to say about the song Hey Jude, and Paul will tell you too, and I've heard in interviews. Paul started the song as a song to Julian, Hey Jules. He was trying to comfort Julian, tell him don't take it so bad, try to, try to be positive, try to make a sad song better. But then it goes into something else. It's not about a boy, talking about so let it out and let it in. You're waiting for someone to perform with, let her into your heart, you know what I mean? Then it becomes something else. And I can easily easily see why John Lennon misinterpreted the song originally and thought it was a message to him. Like Paul pretty much saying, you know, go ahead with Yoko, go ahead, go for it. So I have no problem with John's interpretation of it. All right, enough of this. Enough of this. I think Julian is bitter because Sean got all the attention. To be honest, grow up. These things happen even in real life. Even in real life, like my sister who died, my younger sister, always felt that I got more attention than she did. Even in families, people feel like that. You ever hear of a middle child? Sometimes you have a young child and an older child and the middle child. The middle child feels a little more neglected. All I'm saying is just because Julian is the first Beatles baby, everybody still thinks of Julian as baby Julian, the Beatle baby, the Hey Jude uh the Hey Jude star. He's just a person like anybody else that got a raw deal and you got to make the best of it. And that's it. That's how I feel about it. Doesn't mean I don't feel somewhat sorry for the guy, but to hold that chip in the 30s and 40s and 50s and 60s, enough. That's how I feel about it. As I always say, my parents got divorced. I'm a child of divorce. I never sat there, being miserable about it. I'm sorry. Maybe I can't understand that. I should be able to relate to it, but I don't. You know, um, I'm not saying I agree with him. I'm just saying that that's probably what he thinks. It probably is what he thinks. But okay, so let him think it. So what? you know? I mean, he obviously loves his brother Sean. They love each other. They got a great relationship. And I think he's perfectly cool with it. And, like I said, this whole thing about John, like I said, John was under incredible pressure to be a Beatle, to travel the world, to never be home, to be trotting all around the globe, to be writing music, to be expected to come up with songs all the time and new albums, like 2 albums a year or whatever it is, to make movies, A Hard Day's Night and Help, and all the stuff they had to go through. Where in the world do you have time to be a good daddy, and see your son? You don't. But later on in life, he matured. He realized he had made mistakes, and he made it up to Julian as best he could. And they were having a good relationship at the time he was murdered. That's all you can do. And I really think it's pathetic the way. I'm not saying you, Henry, but you opened up a can of worms and made me do my usual spiel about everybody else. I think it's really pathetic the way people still hold him like he's some kind of Satan for this. I mean, you know, what else can I tell you? Uh, I sensed that you were gutted when you guys just about to walk out of the restaurant and the food came over. Yeah, I did. I was very disappointed because we sat there for a half an hour. Our food never came. And we finally decided we're going to walk out of here. And just as I got up to walk out, the food came over. If we had done it 5 minutes early, we could have got out of there. Yeah. What was the last computer game I played? I have no idea. I played. Does Rock Band count? I mean, I played Rock Band. I don't know if that's I probably wouldn't consider that a computer game though. Remember that Sean had "Beautiful Boy" written about him. I'd listen to that over "Hey Jude" any day. Lovely song. Who said that Julian's whining in 2024? Are people around him to make such statements? No. Tabloid rhetoric. Well, I've heard him whine in interviews. I haven't heard him. 2024 is only 4 months old. I haven't heard him whine this year yet. But as I said earlier, if you heard me, I don't know. I think he's getting better. I think he's getting better at accepting and being a man. But uh, definitely in interviews in the past, he's done a lot of whining. They're there to listen to, you know. Um, No tabloid stuff. Uh, just popping in. We'll watch on replay along with all your live streams. Thank you, Christian. Thank you very much. I like when people are interested enough to watch. It's very nice to know that people are still interested in watching the playbacks if they miss. Now and then was a Beatles question on Jeopardy this week. Very good. Are you still fuming after you filmed your rant videos, or does that calm you down? Usually it calms me down. I mean, not every time when I make a rant video, I'm in the process of feeling like pissed off. But not all the time. But during the ones where I am pissed off and I make them kind of fresh as it happens, like you're talking about, I usually feel better after. Yes, after airing it. So there you go. Exactly, and this is a controversial thing. It is pathetic when Julian says, "I only saw my dad a few times in life, but the pictures tell a different story." There are pictures. I save every one I come across. There's like dozens and dozens and dozens of pictures of Julian with John and Yoko putting his arm around the boy. Her arm. Yoko putting her arm around the boy. There are plenty of pictures of these things, but people don't want to know. They don't want to know. Julian doesn't want to know. I only saw that a few times. Whatever. They're there. The pictures date from 1960. 3, 65, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 74, 76, 70, 78, and 80, 79. Throughout his whole life. The pictures are there. They exist, you know? Here you go. You tell. Well, there were 70 viewers before. Now there aren't. Hit the like button, folks. Right. My name is not John Beadle. It's John Lennon. Exactly. Hi, James. Says, really nice you got the Mind Games EPs from the Lennon estate. Makes me hungry for the box set. Well, I hope that was the idea. I hope that that preview gave people the excitement to look forward to the box set. Okay, Julian is brilliant in the May Pang documentary. That's her side of the story. Um, Thoughts on God and John saying, "I don't believe in Beatles. I believe in me." I think bravo for John. That's where his head was at 30 years old. He was like 30, give or take, 30, and that's what he felt. He felt he was growing out of the Beatles, and now he's with his woman. That's his wife. That's his life. He grew up. He wasn't a baby anymore. He wasn't one of the boys. He was with his. He matured. I don't see anything wrong with that. But as time went on, he felt differently, and he went on saying things like, I'm a Beatles fan too. I still love the Beatles, and I'm a collector. And he collected Beatles stuff, and et cetera, et cetera. He went through different moods, but at that particular point in life, that's where his head was at. He always reported how he felt at the moment. Um, yes, indeed. Well, I'm going to try this one more time, Michael. You maybe you didn't hear me the whole time, but I said he's getting better at it. I said that Julian's getting better. I've heard less of that whining and complaining in recent times. So maybe I think it sounds like he's getting to accept it and walk it back a little bit. I said that. I don't know if you're talking about me or just people in general, but I walked it back. You know. Isn't it weird how they removed the cigarette off the cover of Real Love and I Want to Hold Your Hand? Yes, they did that. Anyway, Julian is a music legend in his own right. Yeah, Julian's good. He's good. He's good. Okay. There's a video of Julian with John and Mick Jagger in '68. Yeah, there's lots of shots and photographs and videos of Julian around with them. And Yoko too. That's the thing that gets me. Everybody says Yoko tried to keep him away from tried to keep Julian away from John or John away from Julian. Nonsense. Okay. Despite okay, so there's one story that May Pang tells in her documentary. We don't know the reasons why. There are other reasons why. But for that particular time, sure. But all the pictures show and there's film footage of them all together. And I've been through this a million times. Some people don't even know about the existence of these photos. Like I said, there's pictures of Yoko with John and Julian, and Yoko is like is like putting her arm around the kid, and you could even see there's even shots of them. I guess it's in Central Park in New York, going down a sled together in the snow. Yoko, John, and Julian, and they're skiing. What's the word? Sledding down the hill. Give me a break, just give me a break. Um, yeah, so there's plenty of film of John and Julian and the kids playing at Tittenhurst Park, and there's even one of those videos. Yoko comes out and she waves. She goes, "Hello, Julian," and he's going, "Hi," and they're waving at each other. So don't give me this stuff that she's avoiding Julian, trying to keep him away from John all the time. I believe the May Pang story that there was that one time that she related for whatever reason she didn't want John to take Julian's call. Maybe John was upset. Maybe John wasn't in the mood. Maybe she was looking out for her husband. Maybe didn't want him up disturbed just then. I don't know, but there was no malice or secret like conspiracy that Yoko was hatching up. That's baloney. But people need to believe that because they need a scapegoat to hate. That's the way the world is. Is the next morning stream going to be on this channel? Yes, from now on, all my live streams are going to be here on the Mean Mr. Mayo channel, with the exception of one, the movie talk. When I talk movies with Tom Magnotti and Tim Allen and people, those movie talks will be at the uh, Mayo's Movie Mayhem channel. Any thoughts of the George Harrison Scorsese documentary? I think it's kind of weak. I think there's a lot of good footage in there. I think there's some good interviews in there. I think there's a lot of good stuff to like in there. But I think they spend too much time with George as a Beatle, and when they get to the solo years, they skip a whole big chunk of his solo career. So there's things I like about it. There's things I don't like about it, and I think it's flawed. I think it could have been a lot better, but there's still stuff to like in it. Uh, I think the Mind Games a CD box is coming out in June, last I heard. So it's going to be here in just 2 months. Wow. Do you believe Spector's story about Lennon defending Scorsese's use of "Be My Baby" for Mean Streets? I didn't know about that. There are different sides to every story. Cynthia's book tells a different tale. That's why I wish John had lived longer, and I wish he was around a lot of years to refute all this stuff. I wish John was here alive right now and still have sound enough mind to recall this stuff and to tell his sides of the stories and debunk a lot of this stuff. I wish. I wish. Okay. I'm going to be wrapping this up soon, folks. So let's wind this up now. Okay. A little bit more. We'll go a little bit longer maybe, but I want to start winding it up. To be fair, there's also photos of John with Yoko's child. Yes, Kyoko. Absolutely. Yeah, I've seen pictures of Kyoko um, with Yoko in recent times where Kyoko was an older woman. Yeah, absolutely. I've seen that. Mind Games, the ultimate collection, 72 tracks, 6 CDs, 2 Blu-rays, July. Now it says July. Okay, maybe I'm wrong. I said June in my video. I'm sorry, Lennon Estate. I don't know. Yeah, I love that's an example of one of the good scenes in the George Harrison Scorsese documentary. Definitely the moment where they're signing the contracts to end the Beatles. That's a wonderful footage. Oh, thanks very much. Thank you. I appreciate that, Lila. Thank you so much for always coming here and asking great questions. Uh, To be fair, we have to remember a photo is just a second in time, while most of the time you spend it in who knows what. Whatever. You could say that all you want. The bottom line is it still proves that Julian was not only with John like 5 or 6 times, he was with him like, 30 times or some, whatever it was. You know, that's the bottom line. And John was living in America, and Julian was living in England, and then he couldn't get to see him as easily. So, uh, you see this kind of thing, I'm so sick of this. I'm sorry. Are a bunch of photos really proof of a healthy father and son relationship? I don't know. All we're doing is proving to you people and to proving to Julian that he saw him a larger amount of time. That's all we're proving with the photos. If somebody says I only saw my dad like 6 times, and you show up photos of like, 37 events or whatever it is, 37 different days or parts in the years. He obviously was with him more than that. We're not talking about the quality of time. We're talking about the amount of time. That's the first thing. And I'm just tired of this. Just because it's Julian, just because it's Julian and because it's John Lennon and John Lennon was a Beatle, we expect that he had to be like a god or something to the son. Everybody's human. John Lennon was human. Paul, George, Ringo, human. Ringo wasn't a great father either, but nobody talks about that. Ringo wasn't a good dad at first. I don't know about now, but in those years, he wasn't a great dad. And he said that himself. But nobody talks about that. Nobody wants to know about that. So anyway, I'm not going to get sucked into this much more than that. I kind of like explained my feelings, and it is what it is. Uh, and that's it. So I'm going to save your questions for next time. I'm going to try to be here next Saturday. I'm going to try to do this every Saturday, and we can talk again. So thank you all for being here. It's much appreciated.